Hi, this is Congressman Chuck Fleischman, and I'm here today to do my very first Facebook town hall. We've conducted other teletown halls and live town hall meetings, but this is a first for me, and I want to thank each and every one of you who submitted questions on Facebook. Obviously, we've had so many questions that I won't be able to get to all of them today, but we're going to be doing this in the future as well. But I wanted to address some of the questions that we've got, and I thank you for this opportunity to visit with you. Richard Penland says, please support H.R. 822, the National Right to Carry Reciprocity Act of 2011. Richard, thank you for that request. I did so yesterday. I proudly voted for that bill which passed the House. This will clearly strengthen our Second Amendment rights, which are very near and dear to me and should be near and dear to all of our constituents under our great Constitution. So I voted for that, it passed, and more importantly, I voted to defeat some of the amendments that would have weakened that. So we're in very good shape on that, and Richard, thank you very much for your question and request. Bob Wallace says, the EPA has overstepped its boundaries and needs to be whittled down, just like unions. They served their purpose for a bit, then Congress enacted laws, and they are no longer needed. Well, Bob, I am very, very concerned about regulation and overregulation in this country. The EPA has overstepped its bounds in many ways. And I agree with you that we have got to look across the board to protect American businesses and American consumers. Remember this, every time we regulate or overregulate and businesses have to comply with that, there's a huge cost to American consumers. Ultimately, the consumer pays more for that, and we can never lose track of that. And it makes American goods less competitive globally. So I share your concerns, and I promise to continue to work every day to curb unnecessary regulations, not only with my working committee, but with my precious right to vote on the House floor. Leslie Bell asks, what regulations should we cut? Well, Leslie, thank you for your question, and I want to talk about some of the things that we've already cut. I was a co-sponsor of the 1099 repeal, which was successful. Even the president signed it. That was part of Obamacare, and it was an undue burden on small business. We got rid of that. It was going to make businesses have to comply with huge costs. Small businesses, mid-sized businesses, and we got rid of that. And that was a bad regulation, and it's gone. I also led the fight with a bill to remove reflectivity on signs. There was an arbitrary deadline set to have signs just meet standards, perfectly good signs, not only in Tennessee, but California, all across our great nation. And because I came up with that idea, and it was a good idea, the need for my bill was mooted because the Federal Highway Administration agreed with me, removed these unnecessary regulations, and now signs will be able to age out during their normal life cycle. So that was also important. To our good friends in the agricultural community, one of the things that's got to be removed, the EPA was trying to regulate dust from farming. Now, I'm not a farmer, but I love farming, and I realize, though, that when you farm and you plow a field, there's going to be some dust. Well, unfortunately, I don't think the EPA realized that. This is, again, an example of people trying to regulate an industry that they know nothing about. And I think we need to curb that. Boiler Mac. There's over 200,000 boilers in this country. They're in schools, they're in factories. They're very, very vital to us in this country. And I voted to basically make sure that we delay the Boiler Mac regulations, which would have been devastating to the American economy at this time. And I hope ultimately that goes away. But just remember this, Leslie. Wherever the regulations are, ultimately it costs the American consumer more, and we've got to be very, very careful. Regulations must make sense, and I think that we've got to get back to good common sense in this business and in this country, regulating business, and to do away with unnecessary regulation. On another question, Jim Rome asks, several of your fellow Republicans want to eliminate DOE, that's the Department of Energy. Why aren't you educating them about the important jobs DOE does in controlling nuclear material and running the national labs, our premier research institution? Well, Jim, rest assured that I am leading the fight in Congress to make sure that our great mission at Oak Ridge is safe. for our other listeners around the 3rd District, let me talk a little bit about Anderson County and Oak Ridge. We have 3 vital missions there. And Jim, you're right. ORNL, one of the best national labs in the country. It's critical to our research, and I think it's the best lab in the country. It's well run, and I've continued to work very, very hard to make sure that it is amply funded, and it is. Y-12, very, very important, key to our national defense, a key NNSA mission there, and I have also worked very, very hard to make sure that they are adequately funded and that Y-12 will continue to lead the nation and provide us with a great national defense. The 3rd mission there is very important. It's a nuclear cleanup mission. So I have joined the Nuclear Cleanup Caucus, and there are several sites around the United States that, sadly, because of our old nuclear legacy, are dirty. They need to be cleaned up, and one of those sites is at Oak Ridge. It's the old K-25 plant, and they have other sites there that need to be cleaned up. And I have worked very, very hard, Jim, and will continue to work hard to make sure that we have sufficient funding to do that. And yes, DOE has an important mission. Oak Ridge is a national treasure for all 3 of its missions, and I'm going to continue to fight that good fight for the people of Anderson County because it's critical to the United States. So thank you for those questions. The last question I have here is many folks of you all have asked about the President's jobs bill. The President and I both want to see Americans put back to work. Unfortunately, the President's policies for his first stimulus package and now his proposed new job bill, which I think is more of the same, have been a failure. We've had unemployment at unacceptable rates throughout this President's administration, and the American people want action. So it was not enough for me just to say no to the President. I think the American people said no to the President. They don't want this failed stimulus. I came up with my own jobs program, which is available on my website. And consistent with that, I've already started to promote legislation that we've got some bills out there to get Americans back to work from the private sector side. I just happen to believe in the free enterprise system, and I don't think this President does. He believes in the public sector. I believe in the private sector. His ideas have failed. We can no longer continue to have 9+% unemployment in this country. It's unacceptable. And the best way to do that, I think, to get Americans back to work is to work it through the private sector. Let's reduce taxes. Let's get Americans back to work. Let's reduce regulations. Let's get tort reform. Take a look at my proposal. I'm going to continue to work every day to get Americans in the 3rd District and all across our great country back to work. So thank you for your questions. This has been a real privilege to get these. This allows me to do my job better as a congressman for you all in the 3rd District, and I appreciate the opportunity to do this first Facebook town hall. Thank you very much, and have a great day.